Hello, I am Gapwin, and I just finished watching the Fallout 76 panel at QuakeCon, which answered some interesting questions. It covered kind of the leveling system, how some of the perks and things are going to work. I wasn't really worried about that, and I don't want to go into too many details. If people are interested in hearing my thoughts on that, let me know and I'll do another video. I wanted to talk about the one thing in the game that was basically the only concern I really had, because I know a lot of people have concerns about it not being a true Fallout game without NPCs and things, but I was just wanting to go out, explore the world, play mostly on my own probably, and just find interesting, varied locations, collect stuff, craft things. That's the kind of stuff that I like to do in my Fallout games. The part that I was most worried about was kind of this PvP element, and that was touched on quite a bit. While I'm off exploring by myself, I don't really want to run into a band of other players who have all come together and decided we're going to go player hunting today and just, keep getting your head blown off, because you appear on the map at all times. It's something they've talked about a lot. You can sneak around, but who wants to be sneaking absolutely everywhere they go to avoid players, etc. So the PvP and griefing aspects were something that I did have some concerns about. And this both addressed some of my concerns and introduced a few new ones. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now. First off, how is PvP being handled in the game? Well, apparently it's going to be more of a dueling system than it is an always-on kind of PvP battle mode. I would equate it to something kind of like you have in Borderlands, where when you're playing with people, you hit somebody, they can hit you, and then it kind of makes a PvP sort of little arena thing in Borderlands. I don't think it makes the arena in Fallout, but what they said is if you shoot someone for the first time, you just attack another player, it does a little bit of damage. And if they attack you back, it does a little bit of damage, but now you have accepted kind of their request to duel. And now both of you do full damage and you go through the fight, and then whoever dies, and the other player gets some caps and experience. The thing that they did say is since it's doing a little bit of damage, if you keep attacking someone, it will kill them eventually. If you keep attacking someone and they keep not engaging, you can just follow them around until you kill them. This generates no in-game rewards for you. You don't get an in-game reward. You get kind of that reward that jerks have of, yay, I ruined someone else's time, but you don't get any in-game reward. And also, when you do that, you get flagged as a murderer, and you get a bounty put on your head, and every other player on the map gets shown where you are immediately. There's no way to hide. Everyone sees you show up on the map as a murderer with a bounty on your head, and they can hunt you down for a large reward. In terms of random player killing for game mechanics' sake, I say that works out really well. You can engage in duels for people who are interested in testing their skills and armor and whatever against another person. And if you're not interested and someone kills you anyway, they don't get rewarded for that, and there's in fact a good gameplay incentive not to. Now, I know some people are going to get really, really powerful and go kill someone just so people will start hunting them down and they can see how long they want to survive. That's a little jerky, but it's how something in the game is going to go, and I don't think a lot of people are going to do that. It's just good that they don't have a real in-game incentive for randomly running around killing people. The other thing is the griefing of your bases. I was never particularly worried about this, but I know a lot of people were worried that, especially with nukes and things, that someone would just be able to come in, utterly obliterate your base. You'd have this settlement that you had spent hours and hours and hours crafting and getting everything just right, and people love to put all these little details and fine things and refinements in their base, make these really cool looking things, and if someone could just run in and destroy the whole thing and had to rebuild it, that would be horrible. They'd already mentioned a lot of how you can move your base from server to server, or just pick up the whole thing and move it to somewhere else. So they talked a bit about the blueprint system. It sounds like you have to actually save your base, and I hope this doesn't cost anything. But if you have your base kind of blueprinted, you can then move that base to wherever you want or rebuild it immediately. It sounds like there is going to be some amount of in-game cost with that, but I hope it's not much. As long as the cost isn't very much, being able to rebuild your base instantly without having to go back through a bunch of menu things or put a bunch of stuff back, I think that takes care of a lot of the concerns that I had about the griefing. I do understand if some people don't like the idea that someone can just come in and destroy your base, but apparently they put that in specifically so you could not grief someone by building a base around them and trapping them. You had to be able to like destroy walls and things if that kind of scenario happened, which was an interesting one that I hadn't thought of. This gets me to the final point, which is kind of the only thing they really said about dealing with harassment. And they didn't really cite harassment specifically. They just said, of course, you can block players, which is necessary for any kind of online game. Some people are going to be jerks. They're going to be jerks to specific people. You need to be able to block them. So they said if someone like comes and kills you and you're just like, no, I want none of that, you can block them. And what that does is hides you from their map and blocks any communication channels. So they can't talk to you. You won't hear them talking if they have their mic on and they're nearby. That's something apparently that you can do, but also mute whenever you want. And you will no longer show up on their map. And they talked like this fixes the problem because, you know, look, it's a big game map. You can go anywhere. They're not going to be able to really find you again. But if you are being targeted and harassed by someone, they will find a way. And this is where I hit a problem with the way they are implementing blocking, because it was kind of implied that if the player that you blocked finds you, they'll still be able to do damage to you, like in that slight way, where you're not accepting their duel, but they're still doing the damage to you and they could still kill you, or possibly they could maybe lead large bands of like animals to you. Just they'd still be able to interact with you and do things that could mess up your experience. And the fact that you have put so much of this on the player who is being harassed, who had to institute the block, bothers me. Because if you think about this, on paper, it kind of makes sense. You've hidden them. It's a big game world. So the person who came after you isn't going to be able to find you now. But that means that it's on you to hide. If you got harassed, if you got killed, if someone came after you to an extent where you felt like you needed to block them, now it's up to you to not encounter that player again. So I can think of a few scenarios. What if they killed you near your camp? What if they killed you near your base or where you were storing your stuff? Like, they apparently can't steal your stuff once it's there, but now anytime you go to drop stuff back off at your base, there's a chance they could be there and there's a chance they could still attack you because the blocking just hides them on the map. But if they know where you're going to be, they could still find you. Let's say that you wanted to go explore an interesting thing. You log on after work. You go, I want to go explore this town. I would like logged off right next to this town. I've been looking forward to exploring this town all day. Some jerk kills you, keeps killing you, like bothers you to the point that you block them. Well, they're still in the town. They can hang around that town all day, and now you don't get to explore the thing that you wanted to because the person who is harassing you is there. So yes, you're hidden from the map. They can't hunt you down as easily, but they can still hang around in an area where you wanted to go. They can keep you from enjoying the game in the way that you wanted to. And that bothers me. The other thing that I don't think they considered is streamers. Now, there's a lot of big name streamers. There's a lot of people who do it for a living who get bothered by this kind of thing. They have better and worse ways of dealing with it. There's also a ton of people who, stream for one or two people. I know a couple people who stream just for fun. Usually their friends watch. I'll go in and watch sometimes. They just stream for fun to a few people. And you know that there are groups and even other streamers who have entire communities based around finding the people who are streaming and harassing them in the game until they have a breakdown on stream. And if you were doing this to someone who is streaming Fallout 76 as an online game, if you find them in the game and you figure out they're streaming, it doesn't matter if you blocked them. It doesn't matter if you have blocked someone who is watching your stream because they know where you are through the stream. It doesn't matter that they can't find you on the map. They can see where you are while you're streaming. So hiding people on the map is not an optimal solution. It's a good start, but it's not an optimal solution, especially with the implication that they can still attack you. Now, I'd say the easiest thing to do would be if you blocked someone, turn on passive for them, just between the two of you. They mentioned a thing called a passivity flag. I think it was called a passivity flag, where you if you don't want to institute fights with people, if you never want to shoot someone and have that be the start of a duel, you can turn on this pacifist thing for yourself. And it means that your bullets are no longer going to hurt other players. You can hit them and it won't do anything. It won't institute the do you want to fight thing. It sounds like it's not even going to damage them, so that you can't accidentally start fights, or people can't like jump in front of something you're trying to kill and start a fight with you. Just turn that on between the player and the person they blocked. Don't let them interact with you at all. Like, don't let them shoot you anymore. Don't let them talk to you anymore. Don't let them show up on your map or their map. Just don't let them. Or flag them as a big red thing on your map, since now it's on you to avoid them, apparently. But that would be a good start. Just turn on a thing that keeps them from being able to do damage. Now, there's still plenty of other ways that they could mess with you. They could set up like a camp full of turrets where you want to go. They could lead a bunch of dangerous animals to you, like kite an entire herd of feral ghouls at you, all kinds of things. So I'd also say, if you've blocked someone, maybe you're just having a bad day. They killed you. You got annoyed. You blocked them. They're not really targeting you. In this case, the system works fine. If they're targeting you, if they want to follow you around, if they want to camp in locations they think you're going to be, if they want to block you from turning in quests, any of the other things that someone can do to be a jerk to somebody else in game, move them. So like if you have blocked someone and the person that you blocked continues attacking you. So if you go out and attack someone who has already blocked you, if you attack someone who blocked you again, move that person to a different server. Take the person who is attacking, who is causing problems, and kick them off of that server. Make them go play somewhere else. Yeah, it might mess up their game, but they're being a jerk. They are attacking random people. They have harassed a person. If you come after a person once, that's still a jerk thing to do if they're not engaging with you, but the game is set up for that. If you go after the person once and you then get annoyed and block them, fine. It's not the optimal solution I'd like to see. I would like to see you have to always opt into PvP, but this doesn't seem like a horrible way of handling it. But after that, if you go after the same person again, if you go after a person who blocked you, that is now you harassing that person. And once you've started harassing that person, you no longer have the same kind of rights to enjoy the game. So now you should be kicked off of that server. Start by moving you to another server. If you do the same thing there, maybe move you to a dedicated jerk server. This is something I've seen a lot of people talking about in the gaming community. Just have a server for people who are troublemakers. Put them all together. They can go harass each other all they want and ruin each other's time instead of anybody else. Or if you have to move somebody into from server to server to server multiple times because they keep engaging in this same kind of behavior, block their account for a day. Don't let the harassers dictate what people do. And this, I think, is my main problem with how the system as it was described is set up. If all blocking someone does is keep them from talking to you and hide you on their map, they still have plenty of ways to harass you. And not only that, but now the ways that they have to harass you involve blocking you from content that you want to enjoy. They can stand by a quest, they can be in a place on the map that you would like to explore, they can hang out by your player home and harass you there. Once you've blocked someone, it's now on you to avoid them. And that just doesn't really make any sense to me. You shouldn't put that kind of responsibility on someone who's being harassed. It should be on you as the developer to work out a way to keep people from harassing each other. Once someone becomes a harasser, you should remove them from the situation. You should not force the person who's being harassed to remove themselves. Well, that was my thoughts on how they're handling the kind of griefing, PvP, and harassment in the game. If you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comments. We can have a nice discussion on good ways to fix this. Hopefully this changes, and hopefully I may be misunderstood and you can't really attack people after the fact. But even being on the same server still gives you plenty of ways to mess with someone and annoy them and try to ruin their good time. And we should all be playing these things to try to have a good time. So if someone's ruining that, you should do more to get rid of them or de-incentivize them or just to block them, because there's certain kinds of people who get so much joy and motivation out of harassing people, you just have to remove them from the community. And it's unfortunate, but at a certain point you just have to, because there's no kind of incentives or punishments or other schemes that are going to prevent this. In fact, the way that it's set up here, I believe, is going to turn it into more of a game. If someone wants to harass someone and they get blocked, now it's turned into a game of, can I find them? Because now they're hidden on the map. So it turns into a game of, how can I keep harassing someone who blocked me? Because now it's even more fun that I track them down. It's even more rewarding when I find them when they weren't expecting it, when they thought they were safe because they blocked me. And overall, I think this has a chance. I don't want to say it's going to do more harm than good, but I don't think it adequately addresses the problem that it's trying to address. So, like I said a bit ago, that's all I really have to say on the matter. We can have a discussion in the comments. If you enjoyed this kind of video, leave a like. If there's other things about, Fallout 76 or maybe some other games that you would like to hear me discuss in this kind of way, this is a fun format that I'm working with. It's for Fallout because I'm kind of Fallout obsessed at the minute. Fallout 76 is fun. We're getting more and more information. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this. But, if you have any other suggestions for videos like this you'd like me to do, leave them in the comments. I'll look into doing some things like that. My name's Gefwin. Thank you very much for hanging around and listening to my little rant here, and I will see you next time.